became angry and stepped in. He struck the Egyptian, and the man died. Moses hid the body in the sand. The next day, Moses realized that people knew what he had done. When Pharaoh heard about it, he wanted Moses killed. So Moses fled Egypt. Long after Jacob's family moved to Egypt, their children and grandchildren grew into a very large nation. They were called the Israelites. But over time, the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, forgot all the good that Joseph had done for the land. Pharaoh became afraid. He looked at the Israelites and thought,
"They are becoming too many and too strong. If our enemies attack, they might join them."
So Pharaoh made a cruel decision. He forced the Israelites to become slaves. They had to work long days under the hot sun, making bricks and building cities and laboring in the fields. Their work was hard and painful. But something surprising happened. The more they were mistreated, the more their numbers grew. This made Pharaoh even more afraid, so he gave a terrible command.
"Every baby Israelite boy that was born must be killed."
You could imagine how frightened the Israelite families must have felt. One Israelite woman named Jochebed had a baby boy. He was beautiful, and she wanted to protect him. She hid him for 3 months, but when she could no longer keep him hidden, she made a waterproof basket and placed the baby inside. Then she gently set the basket among the reeds along the Nile River. His sister Miriam stayed nearby, watching carefully to see what would happen. Soon, Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe in the river. She noticed the basket and had it brought to her. When she opened it, she saw the crying baby, and her heart filled with compassion. Miriam stepped forward and bravely asked,
"Should I find a woman to nurse the child for you?"
Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and Miriam brought back her own mother, Jochebed. Pharaoh's daughter said,
"Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay you."
So Jochebed cared for her own son again, safely. During this time, she may have told him stories about God and the people of Israel, helping him remember who he truly was. When the boy grew older, he was brought back to Pharaoh's daughter. She adopted him and named him Moses, because she had drawn him out of the water. Moses grew up in the royal palace. He learned wisdom, language, and leadership. He could have enjoyed riches, power, and comfort his entire life. But Moses never forgot who he really was. He knew he belonged to God's people. When Moses was about 40 years old, he went out to see how the Israelites were being treated. He saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite slave. Moses became angry and stepped in. He struck the Egyptian, and the man died. Moses hid the body in the sand. The next day, Moses realized that people knew what he had done. When Pharaoh heard about it, he wanted Moses killed. So Moses fled Egypt. He traveled far away to the land of Midian. There, far from the palace and far from danger, God watched over him. Moses may have wondered why his life had changed so suddenly, not knowing that God was preparing him for something far greater. Moses had a choice: to live in comfort and forget God, or stand with God's people, even when it cost him everything. He chose God. And this was only the beginning of his story.